What's going on, guys? Chris Kennedy here. Today I'm going to be talking the 2017 Alabama recruiting class. Now, this was a suggestion made to me by somebody in the comments of my last video, and he asked the question, after the 2021 draft, is this truly the greatest recruiting class of all time? Well, a lot of people have touched on it, and I'm going to touch on it some more. But in short, the answer to that is yes. There is no doubt this class has probably done more for their players than any other class has ever done. Now, these players, they have to go out and they have to do it on their own, but the stats, the thing, they just glare at you. It's unbelievable what they've been able to do. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to talk about a recruiting tool that I think Nick Saban can use on the road, and he's probably already using now. And then I'm going to talk about some advice that he's been trying to give his players for a long time, and I think this class finally as a whole took that advice, used it to their benefit, and it's paying off for them. But before I get into it, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I love talking college football. It's fun to do. I'm no expert. I'm just an average fan who likes getting on here, engaging with you guys back and forth in the comments. So any type of support you could give me would be really, really appreciated. So this 2017 recruiting class had 29 players a part of it initially. 8 of them have transferred out. That leaves 21 guys. Of those 21 guys, 13 of them's college career is officially over. 8 of them are returning for yet another season in 2021. Guys that are returning next year, guys like LeBron Ray, Fadarian Mathis, Daniel Wright, Chris Allen, Brian Robinson. Those are some names that stand out to me. Major Tennyson is coming back as well. But the potential for even more guys to get drafted next year is there. And I think maybe somebody like LeBron Ray or Chris Allen, they might even be first-round draft picks. We'll see how it all plays out. But here's the stats behind that class. Okay. Of the 13 players who are no longer playing, 84% of them were drafted. 11 of the 13 guys were selected to the NFL draft. One of them includes a guy, Thomas Fletcher, who was a 2-star guy, Alabama's long snapper that got picked up in the 6th round of the draft just about a week ago. The other stat that really glares out to me is of those 11 guys that were drafted, 84%, 8 of them were first-round draft picks. So 61% of the players that are no longer playing football at Alabama who were a part of that 2017 class, 61% of them were first-round draft picks. And those first-round draft picks, they didn't necessarily go when they got a high enough grade to get drafted. No, they decided to come back to Alabama, maximize their potential, get the most amount of dollars for their name, and they took advantage of it, and it played out for them. Now, it didn't play out for everybody, but it played out for them. That's unbelievable when you compare it to what some of these other programs have done. Now, in context, I looked back on what some of these other schools have done since 2010. So I'm just using 2010. Since 2010, the USC Trojans, they've only had 9 first-round draft picks. So what USC has done in 11 years is almost equivalent as far as first-round draft picks go to what Alabama's 2017 recruiting class has done. The Miami Hurricanes since 2010, they've only had 6 first-round draft picks. Oklahoma has only had 10 first-round draft picks. So this class alone is rivaling what some of these big-time college programs have done over more than a decade. That is unbelievable. That might not be something we see for a very, very, very long time. Now, here's the secret behind that. And I think Nick Saban is using this as a recruiting tool on the road. When he points out that, hey, this 2017 class, if you stayed here and you saw the process through and you used it to your advantage, you had a 61% chance of being a first-round draft pick or an 84% chance of being drafted overall. But if you try to jump ship too early or when things aren't playing out for you, you want to leave, it ain't going to work out for you. You got to see the process through. You know, that thing that Nick Saban always talks about, finish. When these guys, they finished, and it paid off for them. Now, that is a recruiting tool that I don't think anybody can use. I mean, there are other teams out there. Ohio State, they are a great program. They've put a lot of guys in the NFL. They rank second in the past 11 years with 19 first-rounders behind Alabama's 38. So Alabama's doubled them up on how many guys they've had selected in the first round of the draft. But that is an unbelievable tool that he is probably using on the road. And why wouldn't you? Because guys that go to Alabama know that they're going to go there. They're going to get a chance to probably play for a national championship. I think every recruiting class since 2007 has a national championship ring, so that's almost a guarantee at this point. And they send a ton of guys to the NFL. Alabama has sent 101 players to the NFL since 2010. Here's the other thing, too. For the longest time, Nick Saban was saying, these guys, they need to stay in school. They need to come back, kind of build, maximize their dollar value, and then make the jump to the NFL. Don't go to the NFL when you're going to be a 4th, 5th, 6th round draft pick. Come back to school, get another year of playing experience under your belt, get a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, and then go out there when you have a higher grade. A lot of these first round draft picks did that. Devontae Smith won a Heisman Trophy this year, could have gone to the draft last year, but decided to come back, paid off for him. Look at a guy like somebody like Najee Harris. A lot of running backs were taken last year. A lot of them were projected to go ahead of him. Najee said, hey, I'm going to come back, played another year, won a national championship, was a first-round draft pick. Mac Jones, he could have gone to a different school, but he stuck it out, came back for this year, and had probably the best, well, there's no probably about it. He had the best season any quarterback has ever had in the history of Alabama. And yeah, that includes Tua. Tua was special, but what Mac Jones did this year exceeded what Tua did. So these guys are taking the advice of Nick Saban, coming back, and it's working out to their advantage. Now, it doesn't work out to everyone's advantage because when you play football, there's risk involved, and there's nobody that stands out to me more than Dylan Moses. Dylan Moses was a guy who was not drafted in the draft, but he's a great player. He's played hurt. He had a torn meniscus. He revealed just a couple of months ago, which kind of explains to me why he didn't look like himself on the field this year. Still had pretty good numbers if you look at his stats, but he just didn't look like the same player. He was a guy that, when he got injured in 2019, probably should have gone, but it's easy to use hindsight. But the thing is that's just an unfortunate chain of events. I think Jacksonville got a steal. I think Dylan Moses has the potential to be a great player in the NFL. Funny to think about that Dylan Moses was an 8th grader that Nick Saban in Alabama offered a scholarship to. The first time they ever did something like that, because he was a specimen. As a 14-year-old kid, he was like 6'1", 205 pounds, ran a 4.64 40. So it was just expected this guy is going to be special. And in his freshman and sophomore years, he didn't disappoint. And then the injuries happened, and it was just unfortunate. Another thing that stands out to me is a guy like Isaiah Buggs. He was a part of this 2017 class as well. He went into the draft in 2019, ended up being a 6th round pick. Can't help to think, what if he would have stayed another year? What if he would have stayed another 2 years? Would he have still been a 6th round draft pick? Or could he have been able to maximize the value behind his name and go even higher if he'd have stayed another year? I can't help to think, but yes to that. But just overall, this 2017 class, man, it's incredible what they've been able to produce, what this university has been able to get to these players. I think it's a testament to what Alabama is and who Nick Saban is, and the fact that these guys, I think, are listening to what he's saying now and staying. it's just going to work out for him. It's proof that it's not all about just trying to keep some team together and make another national championship run. I think he's truly looking out for these guys, and they need to listen to what he's saying, and they're finally doing it. But that's all I got. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think Alabama's 2017 class is the greatest of all time? Do you think this 2021 class that they just pulled could rival that? Because according to 24/7 Sports, this is the highest ranked recruiting class that any school has ever had. Let me know in the comments what you think. I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you later.